Okay, so let's talk about the real estate market in general.
Yes.
Any thoughts of where we currently are and or where it's headed?
Generally, I'm concerned. I'm very concerned because remember we were talking about the pandemic and how important homes are. And in the news, we've been talking a lot about this National Association of Realtors lawsuit that's going on and about real estate commissions. And obviously, people want to get a good value, right? We were talking about that. They deserve that. Every consumer deserves that and wants it. But at the same time, it's typically people's most important asset. So I'm really concerned about some of the legislation that's happening. I'm concerned about the National Association and how they're representing us or lack thereof. I'm really concerned about that. Like the last consumer we were talking about where he thinks he can just pay for the photos and market it himself. I think there's been a huge pendulum shift around the value of an agent. And it's very similar to teachers, right? During the pandemic, we started realizing how important teachers are.
Yes.
And now there's,
That's the thing here. I feel like the consumer is getting the short end of the stick here when technically it was because, we're trying to protect the consumer, but I feel like they're actually the ones getting again, the short end of the stick here. And so I feel like, okay, if we go through the process of it, enough people think that they can buy or sell to buy, a home by themselves. And then there's going to be damage done. There's going to be
major damage.
It's going to cause so much damage.
And frankly, it's going to be financial damage, right? If you really think about it, because our job is to negotiate for a seller and make sure they get the highest price possible, right? And we're motivated by commission. Everybody's motivated by money
that's our livelihood.
And their pay.
That's our livelihood.
Right.
I'm sorry. Why does it need – I feel like real estate commissions are so taboo. It's like, I'm sorry. That's just how I happen to get paid. That's my livelihood, how I support my family.
Right.
But
and there's other industries that have sales, right? Yeah. And it's driven by commission. And so I think it's actually, if you take that incentive away or if you reduce it or if you treat people badly, I think that it's actually going to overall put pressure on the pricing that consumers get for their homes. And then on the buy side, if buyer's agents aren't being paid properly or buyers aren't being represented by buyer's agents because they go extinct because they can't make it, right? Or if they go directly to the listing agent.
Yeah.
Right? Because here in California, we still can do dual agency for now. That may or may not be in the buyer's best interest. They might not save as much money or they might have to pay for the commission, whereas before they didn't. Yeah. And so it's just going to put a lot of pressure financially on the consumer. And that's what's absolutely insane. Yeah. So it's just that's my main concern right now.
It's okay. I have a very positive outlook on it, which of course, shocker for anyone that knows me, right? Yeah. I think there's always going to be change. We all know that. Yes. And I think it's just instead of being, we talked about this actually, I should have that quote. What is it? Confusion leads to fear. Fear left unchecked leads to feeling paralyzed. And I think that's kind of where everyone is right now. There's all this confusion out there and fear out there, and they're letting that take over as opposed to just like, okay, let me educate myself. Actually look at the facts. Right. Actually look at the facts. I will repeat that, to see what's actually going on. And then educate yourself. The educated agent will always win because we always bring value no matter what type of industry. So I think just staying on top of it and not only understanding what's going on, but also being able to explain that to the consumer, to the clients, will go really far. And I think it'll all settle out. It'll shake out. Everyone will adapt to the new norm. Yes. And that's my 2 cents on it. And I think it's just getting creative with it because you touched on something too that I think is an interesting perspective that not enough people are, I feel like, are talking about. We're so focused on the buyer side, but think about it from the listing side for a moment here. If you're listing your home and you're not offering a broker commission, there's no incentive to bring the buyers to your home. So if I'm taking on a listing, I'll use your words. This is what you had shared with me, and it resonated so much. If I'm taking on a listing for a client, I want other agents to know that when they bring a buyer to me, they will be compensated. Absolutely. Because now every agent knows when I have a listing, bring all your buyers to me because you will be paid and you will be compensated. So now my listing client will now get more buyers through their home, more offers, and ultimately more money.
Yes,
so
and sell faster.
Exactly. And so quicker. So it's a win-win-win. So let's not be doing away with the, that's my 2 cents. So
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that before we move on? It's like the taboo subject right now.
Yeah, I think it's just really important, again, to hire an agent that has integrity, that's really open with you about how they're paid,
Yes.
and how they're going to get you the most money.
Absolutely.
And probably the other market issue we might want to touch on is interest rates.
Yeah.
So I know for our generation, a lot of us bought when the rates were really, really low, right? Yeah. I know I've bought a few homes at incredible historical rates. But I would say, the rates are in the 7s right now. It's uncomfortable payments for some because some of the payments are, double what they were a few years back. But compared to when our parents were buying homes at 19%, 12%, it's still a great time to buy.
Exactly. And it's temporary.
It is.
The loan that you're getting now is temporary anyways. So at least buy the house when you can.
Right.
Because again, it's so cliche, but it's cliche for a reason, right? It's like marry the home, date the rate.
Yes.
Because it's like you want the home, get in because the homes will continue to appreciate. So get in. You can't change the purchase price, but you can change the interest rate. So
Absolutely.
if it makes sense for you, get into the home now and then refinance later.
Yes, I actually have some clients, and I'm talking several clients, who purchased homes in like 2015 when the rates were actually kind of high, and they're sitting on over $1 million in equity.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I will say
They've made
too,
a fortune.
my buyers right now that are the smart ones that are buying right now, they are so grateful. They get it. They completely understand, and they are so excited to be buying right now, and excited what the future holds. I mean, their equity is just going to skyrocket.
It's fun.
Case in point, like what you just said.
Yes.
So I think that's true. So, and we'll have a lender come on and talk a little bit more
I love it.
to that, because there is, of course it does change. It's a real concern, right? Obviously, you, like you said, you have to get uncomfortable a little bit with your payment being higher than normal, but the goal is still to just get the home, get into a home as fast as you can.
Absolutely.
Ooh, okay. Is there anything that you wish more home buyers or sellers knew or understood? What do you wish more of our clients knew, or the average just home buyer, home seller? Is there any myths that you want to bust?
I just wish they knew how much we put into this.
Yes.
I don't think they realize that we're putting in all of our time, literally, from the moment I wake up at 3:30 or 4 until I go to bed very late. I am checking my phone. I'm responsive, like we talked about. So we're giving our lives for our clients to make money on their biggest asset, right? And so I just wish they knew that. I wish they respected that more and understood how much our families sacrifice for them and for their money.
It's so true.
So
I'm so glad you touched on that, because it's so important to bring up, but it's again one of those things I always try to shield I feel like you do a very good job of this as well. And I find myself doing, because obviously you're going to pick up the phone and respond. And I do the same thing. I work from the second I open my eyes in the morning to the second I go to bed. And that's not healthy, I know, but we're workaholics and I'm trying to set my boundaries. But that's just what has to happen. But, and it's one of those things, we have real life obviously going on, so many things, we all do. But we definitely bend over backwards for our clients, and we do so joyfully and happily, but sometimes it does add up, and there is a lot of compromise. And of course, you're not going to show that to your clients. We know we're professionals, but
I wish they knew that.
At the same time, right, you kind of wish they knew a little bit more of how much we truly do sacrifice and how much we really do work. And it's so funny how much we do behind the scenes and in between transactions. That just goes unseen and unnoticed. So I think that's important to share.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But at the same time, I wouldn't change it from the world.
No.
I know, call me crazy, but
I know. I've maybe wheeled into a C-section or two doing deals.
Yes. I was in the hospital bed in labor and looking over contracts. It's just, it's what we do.
It's a good distraction.
It's okay. And again, it's like, it's one of such a trip. It's almost like parenthood. Real estate it could be the best day, the worst day, and yet at the end of the day, it's so fulfilling.
It is.
It's just like parenthood. You go through the throes of it. Kids are crazy. It tests your patience like no other, but it's so fulfilling.
It is.
I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the best way to leverage real estate? We obviously have an investment division here at Native Real Estate, and we have a lot of investor clients.
Yes.
From your perspective, again, it depends on the clientele and kind of their threshold and their threshold for risk and what they are kind of more attracted to. But in your personal experience, what do you think is the best investment to leverage in real estate?
Yeah, so I would say like the best investment strategy that I think has worked really well for people that I've seen actually has been done by a lot of veteran clients that I have. But I think it makes sense to buy a property, live in it for 2 years. So the first year you're getting settled, you're working to save, and then the second year you're getting ready to buy the next place, and then you buy another property, right? And then you rent out your first one, make sure that it cash flows, and then you rinse and repeat. So that first year you kind of get settled and save, and then to have some reserve for that house that you bought. And then the second year, get ready to buy something else and then buy it. And so the people who have done that over the years, and then they just have a massive portfolio, I think they've done the best, and they just buy and hold if they can. And
anything that you wish you knew sooner in real estate, and that could be in regards to your real estate career and or just your real estate portfolio yourself.
Well, in this phase, I probably would have been more conservative. So I'm a risky little chick.
Yes.
Like I love to buy stuff. I like to invest. I like to expand and grow.
Yes.
And so at least in this season, I'm going to be a little bit more conservative just because I have been so risky.
Yes.
So probably saving a little more.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a give and a take. I mean, you
yeah.
have to take risks to do anything in life, you know, some
Exactly.
risks more than others, you know,
Exactly.
but,
Yeah.
and then there's seasons, of pulling back a little bit. So that's always wise. We talk always about being good stewards of our
Yes.
finances. And I think that's important to always,
Absolutely.
always be wise.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think it depends on your personality, right?
Oh,
For
absolutely.
some people are so risk averse. They never do
Exactly.
anything. They never have any properties. Like thankfully I've been brave and have bought property and have done things.
It does take some bravery. I think
Yeah,
that's so
it
important.
does.
So,
It does.
okay, so let's have some fun. What
Yeah.
is one of the craziest stories that you can share from real estate?
I have a lot of crazy stories.
Yes.
We could have a podcast just on
Just
my
on crazy stories.
probably. But probably one of the craziest in the last 5 years has been I had a professional athletes listing in San Diego, and every time I would go over to the house, and it was a massive house, every time I'd go over to the house, I would hear someone in the house. I'm pretty sure someone maybe was living in the house just while we had it on the market.
And it was supposed to be vacant?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, like I would hear footsteps, like someone running. And I wasn't sure if it was like an animal or a person. And it happened so many times that I was like, I think someone's either like living in the walls
Oh my goodness.
or in the attic, and they come down like when we aren't showing the property, because it was furnished and beautifully staged and fabulous. And
My goodness.
so anyway, they did, I mean, everything was cleared out and the house was empty at the end. But while it was listed, like I'm pretty sure someone was living in it.
I hope you had someone with you at any open houses or showings.
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
Absolutely. And it was so big that you couldn't hear, you know, and it was very high tech. So every time a door opened, it would tell you what door opened. So like literally you'd walk in the front door, it would announce that you're there in the front door, and then someone would exit a different door.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was wild.
Something was going on there.
That was wild. So
my
eventually we
goodness.
did have the police come and the SWAT team.
Yes,
And
yes.
they checked everything out, and they
Okay.
said there was no one there. So
Okay.
there was no one there.
Or
But
it's haunted.
that could be too.
Do you have to disclose that if you feel like something's haunted? Because that's such a weird.
You should always disclose.
I mean,
that there's
anything
a
and everything.
question.
Like, so there was a ghost that I saw.
You should always disclose.
Of
yeah.
course. I know that's the running thing, right? If
Yeah.
you ever guess, just disclose.
Yeah, always disclose.
Always.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything else you want to share that you think is just important to bring up about real estate in general?
I think it's really important to preserve the American dream. And so that's something that I'm really focused on.
Yes.
I think it's important for everyone to be able to buy a house that they're proud of.
Yeah, speak to that a little bit about your history real quick. I know we're wrapping up here, but I want you to share a little bit about why homeownership is so important to you.
It's a really big deal. So homeownership is stability for people, right? It's not only stability for their daily lives, but it's also part of building a legacy and building a financial foundation for the future, like we were talking about. In the past, I touched on this a little bit in some other videos, but my grandparents had to hire civil rights attorneys to buy their homes. They were African American and buying, in the 60s. And so that was pretty wild. They've had to have their bosses pose as the buyers who were Caucasian. And so it's just unreal to think that wasn't that long ago. And so I think, obviously we're having some political changes happening and it's probably for the good, but I think it's at the same time, it's really important to remember that everyone matters, no matter their skin color, and everybody deserves to have a home. At least in America, I believe that's the case. I think globally it should be that way, but I'll speak for America.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
should happen.
Yeah, the American dream is still going strong.
It matters.
Yes, and it does matter. Yeah, and to be able to play, a small role in that is so important and so special.
It's an honor to do it every day.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so what are you looking forward to the most for the future with Native?
Oh my gosh, we have so many incredible plans. I'm just excited to see where we head. We have so much growth happening. We're expanding into other states, and we have a lot ahead of us.
We do. You're being very humble and very reserved, but you are you're a dreamer, but not only a dreamer, but you actually make it happen. I try. And that's hard to find. So, because anyone could just talk a big game, but we also we're doers. And so I love getting inside your head and hearing about your dreams and visions for Native and where it's headed, because we're just getting started. So it's exciting.
Yes.
And it's exciting to be a part of it. So
yes, I'm so glad you are.
Yes. Okay. So call to action. Where can people find out a little bit more about Native?
Yeah. So our website is pretty rich. It's native.us, like United States.
Yes.
We're also on YouTube, and we've got some great content on there, Native Real Estate. And we love Instagram too. We're pretty active on stories and our posts, and that's another good place to find us. It's native_real estate.
Yes. Okay, wonderful. And everyone else knows they can find me on Instagram. That's where I hang out the most.
Me too.
Yes.
Honestly.
Absolutely. So Marissa _Tuer, because that's where I hang out. Catch me in stories, all that good stuff. And then, of course, YouTube, where we're at now. So YouTube has been a fun adventure lately. It's been fun to focus a little bit on that. I think I'm able to provide a little bit more value on there. It does take a little bit more intention, planning ahead of time, but it's been a great place to connect with people and, again, really bring a little bit of education, bring a little bit of, neighborhood highlights, bring a little bit of just extra value that I feel is needed, especially in our industry. So that's been a fun place. So anyways, I digress.
You've been doing a great job.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Fun journey. Yeah. Well, anyways, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
It was fun. Take care.